Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Smooth Gang Show. So, um, as you guys know, I talk about a little bit of everything here. Hello. Let me make sure my mic. There it is. Turn it up. Hello. All right. As you guys know, um, I talk about a little bit of everything uh, at my show. You know what I mean? Whatever's on my mind, whatever come to mind, and I just came across a video that encumbers a lot of what I've been watching and I've been covering, and it just kind of like spoke volumes to me, to say the truth. We're gonna get into this video now. You guys know I follow Candace Owens big, and Candace Owens is one of my favorites. She's one of my favorites, and she does her job very well. Um, and hopefully, I get to be as good as her one day, to where my research and everything, how I go about doing certain things, um, come across the way that hers do. You know what I mean, and the due diligence and the homework aspect of everything. So, but I found somebody else who uh who does just as well, and who's as diligent and as thorough as she is. And honestly, this is my first video I've ever watched of this young lady. Um, I kind of like her style. I like how she's straight to the point, and I like the way she pieces together to where we can understand. So, with no further ado, I'm gonna go check out one of her videos. No, we want to do this here. So let me go grab it here. Give me 1 second, and we're gonna definitely go check out one of her videos. I just literally watched it, and it was eye opening, to say the least. Um, it was eye opening, to say the least. Like I said, it was pretty. I'm gonna let you check for yourself. And her name is Nisi Social, NISSCEE .social. We're gonna go check her out here and see what she got going on. Share with the screen. Let's go full. There we go here. And appreciate it. But yeah, so she's gonna do a breakdown, guys, of something that you guys know I've been talking about and I've been following. And so how about we're gonna just go ahead and listen to it and listen to it together, okay?
The Charlie Kirk case, start the story on September 10th. And sure, if you look only at that day, there are plenty of strange details. The decoys, the police radio calls, the implausible wounds to the neck. But here's the thing, when you start digging into the months leading up to it, the timeline starts getting weird. Really weird. Because before September 10th, there were strange meetings, suspiciously timed firings, confusing statements, and a handful of events that at the time looked completely unrelated until you put them on the same timeline. Tonight, we're going to rewind the clock and start the story where it probably should have began in the first place.
So as we all know, there was a particular timeline that was started, but she's going to actually introduce another aspect of the timeline that we originally had got, and actually make it more digestible, I guess you can say, to say, for instance, to where did my pillow go? That was right here. Oh, son, take my pillow off my damn chair. No, he didn't take it off. It's fucking sitting on it. That's not what that's for. But yeah, she's gonna change the timeline. So here we go.
Video, I'm going to be covering the Charlie Kirk case in a way that I haven't seen be covered by any other YouTube channel. I, like many of you watching, have been looking into this case for months now. I've been looking at the directors for all the TPUSA entities, looking at his in-laws, his now widowed wife, Crazy Eyes. I have looked at this from so many different angles. Was this done because people were caught stealing money from TPUSA? Was he taken out so that a new TPUSA CEO could be installed? Was this about a lucrative insurance policy? Or was it really just some cross-eyed furry kid who, despite being cross-eyed, has impeccable aim?
Your powers of observation continue to serve you well.
I do have my own theory on what really happened, which I will explain at the end of this video. But before I tell you what I believe happened, I want to show you why this is my belief. And I want to tell you the story in chronological order to paint the clearest possible picture. So let's begin. We all know that Charlie was a proud and devout Christian, and as a Christian and as a conservative, he often stood on the side of the place where...
And what's crazy is how all this transpired. It's almost like a movie. This would actually be a really good movie, to tell you the truth.
Jesus was born. I'm trying to be thoughtful with my word choice. I don't want my video to get shadow banned. So very early...
That's another thing that's crazy. How you can talk about every other culture, race, creed, and critique them and everything, but for some reason, if you talk bad about Israel, you have it's like I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how they're don't speak on them, and everybody's so self-conscious. But you could talk in every other culture, but you speak on them, oh boy, it's a problem.
Early on in the video, I'm going to try not to say the name of this country, but we all know who I'm talking about. Like I said, he was known for standing with that country, and so it was very surprising when 5 days after the October 7th attack, he said this during his visit to the PBD podcast.
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR.
So basically, you guys remember what happened to Israel, how they got infiltrated, supposedly. What Charlie basically said there is that's a lie. That was all a setup to give them a reason to genocide on Gaza. That's what he's saying, pretty much. Wow, I never thought of that.
Or an automatic machine gun. That is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? Did somebody in the government say stand down?
Was there a stand down order, meaning let these people in, let them do horrible crimes to our people so it can justify us doing triple horrible crimes to their people? Was there a stand down order? That's crazy.
Is a legitimate non-conspiracy question. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America, we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? But there are some serious questions here, Patrick.
Sounds like a planned genocide.
And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
Charlie was one of the first, if not the first, high-profile conservative to point-blank ask this very provocative and reasonable question. And I think the public got to see that Charlie's views on this country and this country's government was more nuanced than we previously thought. Not too long after this, on October 23rd, he was texting with his longtime friend Candace Owens, and she has since shared these messages. Charlie, There are some verses in the Talmud that will blow your mind. Candace, I'm aware of them. Charlie, the Talmud is not biblical, but it's their rabbinical interpretations of Judaism.
So when he started digging into who these people were and what they were, that's when his perception of them started to change. Meaning, the that little country over there.
Shh. Candace, I did a deep dive 1 week. Charlie, thought crime. Candace, yep. So clearly Charlie's views on the subject are not as black and white as the public previously thought. And mind you, that text conversation took place just a few weeks after his appearance on the PBD podcast. On May 2nd, 2025, Charlie Kirk allegedly sent a 7-page letter to the six-finger bandit Benjamin Netanyahu. According to Bibi and Andrew Colvett, the letter is authentic, and in the letter, Charlie warns Bibi that his country, Bibi...
They say when people have 6 fingers or messed up fingers in videos, that's AI. Just food for thought.
His country was losing support with Gen Z, and he gives recommendations to Bibi for how he can win the information war. After Charlie's death, this letter was used in an attempt to prove that Charlie's support for that country was unwavering and absolute, but it clearly was way more nuanced. Many people don't mention that 2 days after this letter was allegedly sent to Bibi, Charlie tweeted this: "Tomorrow the House will vote on H.R. 867, a bill that will criminalize private boycotts of Israel, fines up to $1 million, and prison time up to 20 years. Bills like this only create more anti-Semitism and play into growing narratives that Israel is running the U.S. government. In America, you are allowed to hold differing views. You are allowed to disagree and protest. We've allowed far too many people who hate America move here from abroad, but the right to speak freely is the birthright of all Americans. This bill should not pass. Any Republican that votes for this bill will expose themselves. We will be watching very closely." So clearly, Charlie didn't support this bill, despite supposedly writing that letter to Bibi Netanyahu about winning the information war on behalf of Israel. Just 2 days later, he's publicly tweeting that people should be allowed to disagree with Israel and should be allowed to boycott them. Something
That's the last thing any American's going to let you do is govern their speech. I mean, we stand on our freedoms, firearms, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. And once you start taking away our freedoms, yeah, we don't play that shit. Not here in America. Take that shit somewhere else. We don't do that. I don't give a damn who you think you are or what you think you are. You are subject to criticism and judgment just like everybody else.
Something else that Charlie was openly against was America going to war with Iran. This, of course, was something that Benjamin Netanyahu has been pushing for decades, along with many other neocons.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year.
They have the wherewithal, the stored up, preserved knowledge to make a bomb very quickly if they wanted to.
Iran is so dangerous. Weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
They're very close. They're 6 months away from being about 90% of having the enriched uranium for an atom bomb.
So this dude been saying the same thing for 30, 40 years, talking about when they close, the same scare tactic. And he finally got one idiot to bite who he had compromised, talking about Mr. Trump. And now he controls him like he's playing Xbox.
Iran is gearing up to produce 25 bombs, atomic bombs a year, 250 bombs in a decade.
Iran will be capable of producing alone, without importing anything, nuclear bombs within 3 to 5 years.
Back in the spring and summer of 2025, this was once again a topic of conversation, and Charlie was very clear that he didn't agree with America engaging in war with Iran.
Our MAGA base does not want a war at all whatsoever. They do not want U.S. involvement. They do not want the United States to be engaged in this. But we must resist the siren song of displacing dictators and lands we do not understand and we have no business running. The worst possible case scenario is Iran says, okay, you humiliated us. You killed all of our leaders. We're going to go make this a...
So I'm going to finish this on my other live because obviously I'm getting no viewers this way. So I'm going to go the other way. So I'll be right back.